anime-omake, I'm Jackie Jang.
And I'm Miranda Sanchez.
And true to omake, we are bringing you some fun conversations and features with this special mini-series all about anime.
In this episode, we talk about Hollywood's relationship with anime in the US and end with our dreams of anime. We desperately want to get another season. So let's start with the less favorable part first.
Yeah, that's
Hollywood why.
Not great. Yeah, Hollywood why. That's a great way to put it. Yeah, I mean,
so
they've been messing up.
Yeah, so
there's no other way to put it.
Like there's some things, it's like almost like the unforgivable tier.
Yeah.
Like Dragon Ball Evolution, just don't
Oh my gosh.
purge from your brain. And like even though like Avatar: The Last Airbender is technically not anime,
yeah,
whatever. But even that,
yeah,
it's just like
bombs, man.
Like the tier that you just want
bombs.
to like get the Men in Black like brain flash thing.
Yeah.
Like I never saw that. I don't know what that is.
The Ghost in a Shell. I mean, like terrible, terrible reaction to that.
Yeah, I mean like there's a lot of good reason too. It feels like Hollywood doesn't quite understand like what people want from these.
I mean, Major is Asian. You know what I mean? Like there's just like what happened there. Like that's a whole conversation in itself. Plain and simple though, Hollywood is bombing. They are not doing it right. Though, okay, couple good points.
Yeah.
Kill Bill, the Oren Ishii scene, like that is probably one of my like favorite anime scenes like ever. Period. It's so epic.
Right, and like that's a big part of it not being an anime, right? It's not adapted. It's like its own work, right? And I think like there's a lot of great things that like take inspiration from anime, and like that's where you see those successes.
Yes.
What we have next is Alita Battle Angel. And I went to the panel they had at Crunchyroll Expo, and they had Robert Rodriguez and Rosa Salazar there. So Robert Rodriguez is directing it, and then Rosa Salazar is the star. She's Alita. From what I gathered from that panel, which is maybe not what I was supposed to gather, was that anything I dislike about this movie, I'm gonna blame on James Cameron.
It's all your fault, man.
Well, because like I think that the big deal is that they're taking a lot of his work that he had planned for this movie. Like this has been planned for a very, very long time. But then he got Avatar and he had to work on that, and then he kind of just put Alita on the side, on the back burner. Yeah. And then I guess he met Robert Rodriguez, and then they said, hey, what if you take this thing over for me? Yeah. And so the way Robert Rodriguez put it was that he had to go through like this massive, essentially like book of notes and like things that he wanted, and like they're still trying to like be true to what that dream was. Yeah. And I think there's like a lot of hope there. So it's not saying that necessarily that these actors or cast don't know what the anime is or like what the manga is in this case. Because like they made it pretty clear. It's like, yes, we've read all this, we know what it is. And like I think one of my friends who was in there has read the manga, so I've only am vaguely familiar with it. It was like, oh, it's so cool that they're including this thing. And it's like, I'm glad that they're doing that. Like I'm glad that they're starting to include the things. But just because they include that doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna be good, right? Like we saw with Ghost in the Shell, like there's like these iconic fights that are really big, but they're of course still missing like the heart of what Ghost in the Shell is. Yeah. Also too, you have to be able to like visually do what happens in these animes, and that's super hard. Like the Full Metal Alchemist live action movie was just excruciating for me to watch because did you like it? No, I didn't.
Okay.
I mean, like
oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
Like
some of the visual effects were so bad. Like I almost started laughing. You know what I mean? I was just like,
it's expensive, right? It's expensive.
It is. It's super expensive. Yeah.
Back at Anime Expo, I was talking with Freddie Wong, who is directing Anime Crimes Division for Crunchyroll and Rocket Jump, and he was saying like how it's actually kind of impossible to do stuff that anime does, because like anime has, a lot of people ask me, it's like, well, why do you like anime? Like what is it about it? And I'm like, well, it's you're going into this space where you can do anything. Like it's animation, you can do whatever you want. There's no like reason or rhyme to this. Like you can, as long as it makes sense, it can happen. Like look at Goku's hair. Yeah. You can't get that. I'm like, you can with like a lot of hair gel, but it does not look as nice and floofy as he has it.
There's no limits with anime, exactly. It's like you gotta know what works on film and what works in anime. You know what I mean?
Right, that's the thing is like, everything was made in that medium for a reason.
Yes.
And so it's like, this was an animated thing for a reason. This was a manga first for a reason. And you see sometimes, I think, with like Sailor Moon Crystal, of like, part of that does not succeed well at all because they lifted it like almost word for word, panel for panel from the manga, and the manga at the beginning was not all that strong. Yeah. And so like the first few seasons of Sailor Moon Crystal were just not good. Yeah. And so I think that's the problem, right? Adaptation is adaptation. It's not a
It's got to be a good story in the end, like 100%.
So
So there's that big conflict though, being like committed to the source material, making your own adaptation. It's like, it's a lot of pressure. You got a lot of stuff coming at you. I think like the big things though is you got to have a good story, and you have to make sure you're like working within your medium.
So the one that I am curious about is Cowboy Bebop, which we've heard out for a long time, and who knows what's gonna happen with that. I hope they get it right.
Yeah.
Because I think that is one of the few chances where, because it is so episodic, and it's just like a space western, like I think that they have a chance to get that.
I do too. I mean,
right.
I thought the new Blade Runner movie looked to me like how I think the Cowboy Bebop world would look.
Yes.
I feel like it's attainable.
So there is hope.
There's
hope on the future.
Our fingers are crossed.
Yes. So let's get back to the thing that we're here for, that we know and love, anime itself, not the live action stuff. But we can all know just a little bit better. Like, there's so much to anime. And so in this next feature, we're gonna take a look at the studios and talent that you should keep an eye on. You may have heard of a little animation studio called Studio Ghibli, and maybe even the studio responsible for My Hero Academia's anime adaptation, Bones. But have you heard of Orange? And not the anime. Or how about director Naoko Yamada? Whether you're a seasoned anime fan or just getting started, here are a few lesser-known studios and fantastic creators in the anime industry that have a lot of potential to do great things in the future. 3D CG animation often gets a bad rep when it comes to anime, but you shouldn't write off all productions that heavily use this form of animation, especially if Orange is involved. While the studio has worked in collaboration with other teams on series like Black Bullet and Dimension W, last year Orange released its first project that wasn't a co-production, Land of the Lustrous. Not only is this one of the few anime whose CG is well regarded by fans and critics alike, it uses the medium to capture the essence of the series in a way that simply couldn't be done with traditional 2D hand-drawn animation. While we hope to see Orange continue Land of the Lustrous with a second season, we're just as excited to see what else it can create when applying its incredible 3D CG animation skill set to other solo projects. While Kinema Citrus was founded a decade ago by former Bones and production IG staff, only within the last couple of years has the studio really come into its own. Kinema Citrus is a team behind the anime adaptation of the beautiful and oftentimes horrifying world of Made in Abyss, which not only earned a spot among the nominees for IGN's Best Anime of 2017, but also was awarded Anime of the Year at last year's Crunchyroll Awards. The studio is also behind Summer 2018's Review Starlight, which features gorgeously animated on-stage battles as theater students face off in auditions with a distinct otherworldly quality. A common claim among the IGN commenters these days is that anime is too moe, too much children in high school, and too lighthearted. Where's the drama? Well, look no further than White Fox.
A malign spirit has taken possession of my right hand, Rukako! Banish it before I'm forced to do something unseemly! Be right back.
While yes, many of the anime this studio has produced in its 11 years feature younger protagonists, it's rare that everything is left to friendship and optimistic ideals. Instead, White Fox has worked on anime like the acclaimed sci-fi Steins Gate and its sequel, Steins Gate Zero, along with the grim and wonderful Girls Last Tour and the very popular ReZero, Starting Life in Another World. On the lighter side of things, White Fox has also produced the charming adaptations of The Devil is a Part-Timer and Is the Order a Rabbit. As for individuals, there are a few creators that we can't wait to see what they do next, regardless of which studio they're working with. After serving as a screenwriter on many projects, Mari Okada made her directorial debut this year with Makia When the Promised Flower Blooms. With an impressive screenwriting resume that includes titles like Anohana, The Flower We Saw That Day, and Lupin III, The Woman Called Fujiko Mine, there's no question she's a gifted writer who knows how to tell an emotional story and whose sensibilities shine through her first directorial work. Okada impressively wrote and directed Makia, a movie which provides a unique and heartfelt take on motherhood from the perspective of a girl who ages significantly slower than normal humans. If Makia is only the first of many directorial works from Okada, it's hard not to be excited to see what comes next from this remarkable storyteller. Kyoto Animation is one of the most highly regarded studios for its incredibly polished and detailed animation, and Naoko Yamada has served as director on several of the team's more recent beloved projects. In addition to helming the hit series K-On! And its related projects, she also directed Tamako Market and Tamako Love Story. Perhaps her greatest work, though, is the critically acclaimed film adaptation of Yoshitoki Oima's manga A Silent Voice. It's unquestionably one of the best animated films in the past few years, addressing heavy issues like bullying and suicidal thoughts through the lens of a teenage boy on a journey to find redemption and friendship. Yamada also directed this year's new sound euphonium film, Liz and the Blue Bird, which we're excited to see later this year when it hits US theaters in November.
少女の儚く、そして強く輝く美しい一瞬を。リズと青い鳥。
We were only able to cover a handful of creators and studios in this feature, so be sure to check out our article version for a few more picks.
Okay, so there's a lot of anime out there, but there are some anime that we desperately want to get another season. We got a couple on the list here. It was hard for me to whittle it down, but I'm gonna start off with Claymore. That is one that I watched years ago.
So cool too.
Yeah, but it had such a big impact on me because it was so many badass women warrior characters that were like incredidly strong. You know what I mean? I just think like when you're a woman and you're like, whoa, like almost all the protagonists here are women and they're like super freaking cool, even the villains, like that just like affects you. But then like the ending was just so weird to me. Like it just felt very like disconnected and it left so many loose ends. So, I mean, some people think it wrapped up nicely, but it did go away from the manga. Yeah, for me it wasn't enough. So bring back the badass chicks, okay? There we go.
I think the thing there is just like, there's a lot of really great female leads right now, but there's not a lot in like action settings.
Yeah,
and like, give us more of that.
Yeah, we're
really
big Kill la Kill fans, so Claymore fans as well.
Yeah, so I'm gonna take it back to another one, which is not action
complete
oriented.
opposite,
Like, sorry, we're gonna go to the other one. Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun, which is like one of the few anime I'm just like, you could literally watch this with anybody. It is so good. So it's a romantic comedy. It's set in high school. I know everybody likes those, but it is so funny. And it just like turns heads on gender tropes, and it's just like so full of heart, and its animation is good, and it's just charming as heck.
Yeah.
So in this show, what it's about is this girl who is crushing on this guy in class, and it turns out that he writes a shoujo manga, and he takes inspiration from his real life to write into his manga. And so it's like super popular too, but people don't really know about it.
Yeah.
And then she ends up helping him draw it and like doing all the inking and stuff. And like they gradually just kind of grow their team as his deadlines keep getting closer and closer. And it's all about her like kind of working up the courage to like confess to him, as most romantic comedies go.
Yeah.
But the way it's done is just so excellent, and the characters around them are just so endearing. And it ends on this cliffhanger. You're like, I mean, I can guess what happens next.
The other one that I want more of, which it ended well. I mean, it ended fine again, but I would love to see more of Yuri on Ice. I think it's just so amazing.
I'm so glad that we for sure are getting the movie.
Yes,
the movie is technically a prequel though, because it's about Victor. And I'm really excited. This like the full team. They're spending a lot of time to make this movie like something of really high quality.
Yeah.
But it's not a second season. The next one I think is going to be a crowd favorite, which is Noragami. I need a season 3. I love the first season so much. The second season I liked a lot as well, not as much as the first.
Yeah.
But this is another one by Studio Bones, and like they do incredible animation. They did Mob Psycho 100. They're working on My Hero Academia right now. So like you know they are a good studio.
Yeah, with the photos I saw, the animation looked really good.
And like, it's just such a charming show. So if you don't know what Noragami is about, it's about this lesser god, as we're led to believe, and he's kind of doing like very sad work to get offerings from people. Like he doesn't have a shrine, and in this world, like when you're a god, like the more people you have, the more followers you have, the more people giving offerings to your shrine, the more powerful you are. And so he's just
kind
like
of reflective of real life.
Yeah, so he's pretty much just like carrying around his box. It's like, I will do something for you, just give me 5 yen, which is like nothing.
Yeah.
And so this one girl sees him, and she tries to save him from like getting hit by a car, but he would have been fine. And so instead, she almost dies. But her soul is partially lifted out of her body, so she is now existing between the two realms of like the demon god realm and like the soul's realm and her realm. And so she's just trying to help him be better, be good.
Aww.
And so it's kind of about like their adventures.
The idea is really intriguing,
Yeah, it's really neat. And so like I think when it comes to, I guess like sci-fi fantasy anime like this, it's like a good mix of like more fantasy.
No, it looked like a really big mix of genres.
And all that good stuff, and like action. You have to have like I think a really believable cast and like good emotion to like set you in that, I guess, mythology.
Yeah.
And it does. It does it so well. And it's so cool. And I love all the characters. And I want it back. But the big thing was that the author of the manga was actually really ill. And so that's kind of why the manga was put on hiatus. So I'm happy to report that the author, as far as I know, is doing better and that the manga has returned to its normal serialization in Japan. So there is a good chance that we will get another season eventually.
Yeah, the one bummer again with anime too is that there's conflicts with the anime, and then we see what happened with Claymore. Like, I think they were just trying to fill in the blanks or rush it, you know what I mean? So it happens.
With season 2, like it ended on like a massive cliffhanger.
Yeah.
So it's just like, you have to give us more. Like, the manga's out there, but again,
it's not the same.
Yeah.
And that's all we have for today. Check back soon for the next episode. And if you're looking for more on anime, don't forget to check out our last episode about the best anime of 2018 so far, as well as the ones we're excited to watch this fall. Bye!